Now I'm going to speak with Janet Brocart, a speech-language pathologist who works closely with parents and conducts speech and language evaluations, among other roles. That sounds like you're pretty busy, Janet.
Very busy, yes.
So what does that mean to be a speech pathologist? How are you helping the children? What are you doing?
Okay. Well, we work with psychologists, so we do team evaluations, multidisciplinary team evaluations. But I'm basically focusing on speech, which are the production of speech sounds, language, can they communicate verbally, and sometimes we have children with voice difficulties, so they have vocal quality difficulties, and then fluency, which is stuttering. So we basically do a screening when they come in and interview the parent. And if there are concerns in any of those areas, we determine if further testing is needed.
So when my child was in preschool, they had someone come through and they determined, I think when she was 3 or 4, that she was having trouble with S's. And she went through some speech classes. They would pull her out and she'd work on putting her tongue in the right place and all of that. Is that the kinds of things that you would be working on?
That is, but the children that we work with have multiple substitutions and omissions, and it affects their overall speech intelligibility, so it's very difficult to understand them. Sometimes the parents even have difficulty. So the children basically that come through our doors are very unintelligible when they're speaking because of multiple speech errors.
So the parent can't understand them, or the
Other
preschool
people,
teachers can't understand them. And then what can you do for that?
Well, there's therapy for that, and we have, if that's the only problem that they have, just the production of the speech sounds, we have 2 programs. They can go to their boundaried school based on their address a couple times a week for therapy, if that's all that is necessary. And that, of course, is determined at their eligibility staffing. With the parent, we talk about how to best meet their needs. Children that have more severe articulation problems might qualify for a program that would go 5 days a week. So it just depends on what the test results show, what kind of therapy they might be eligible for.
And then do you help the parents as well with what to do with that?
Absolutely. The parents are a big part of the program because we send a lot of the therapy materials home, and the parents can work with them at home, and it really reinforces what's being done in therapy on the school level.
Is there an opportunity for them to meet with the therapist and maybe, if they don't understand the written materials, or if perhaps English is not their native language, how to help them help their child?
They work very closely with the speech pathologist, and she will help them with the home program in any way. And I've actually worked with Spanish-speaking parents to help them try to figure out how, if we're working on S-blends, for example, how to incorporate that into their native language.
And so before I let you go, I just want to give some parents hope. Do you have a good success rate with the speech?
Very good. And studies statistically have shown that children that do have these multiple errors will have difficulty with reading when they start with the phonology and sounding out words and putting a sound with a letter. So that's why we try to remediate so young, because it may affect them when they read.
Great. So we really want parents to know if they're seeing these problems, if the preschool center says it's a problem, follow up,
Definitely.
pursue it, because it really can have a cascading effect on the rest of their education and life.
Absolutely. And you'll see frustration in the children. Either they're not understood because of the speech sounds, or they don't have the language, they don't have the vocabulary or the expressive language to really get their wants and needs expressed in a classroom.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Joining me now is Rizelle Noguera, a psychologist who reviews records, conducts parent interviews and preschool screenings, and plays an integral role in determining staffing needs during the initial eligibility process. Rizelle, thank you so much for joining me. This morning, as I've been doing my interviews, everybody's been talking about the role of the psychologist, and now here you are. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thank you.
Tell me about the role of the psychologist in this process.
Well, when I first meet the parents, I ask them what are their primary concerns. What brought them here today? They explain many times it's communication or behavior. And
what about motor skills? Is
motor
that
skills,
one of the issues?
Some of them do come with motor skill delays, but we have to explain to the parent that those delays need to impact education. Sometimes the delays are there, but if it doesn't impact education, that's not something we address in the school setting. That's addressed more privately.
Okay.
So they explain their concerns. I ask them to give me examples to have an idea, because many times they might have a concern, but in reality, it's expected of the child to behave that way. It's something that's normal. We just kind of explain to them what's expected and not expected. Once we get to the room, I talk to the child to see their language skills as well as how they are engaging with me, the other examiner, and the parents. We work with them on simple tasks just to see where they're at. If we definitely see a delay, we're suspecting a disability, then we ask the parent for their consent to begin the testing, and we do the evaluation. If we feel like we need information from the teacher, then we ask the parents for their information so we can contact the teacher afterwards.
What kinds of things would happen in this evaluation? I imagine parents are a little leery of...
The parents are right there. They're observing the entire process. And where I test, the parents are right behind the children and sitting comfortably. They have a table next to them. I ask them lots of questions. They're the parents. They know the child best. So half of the evaluation is parent interview. The other portion is working with the child directly and then watching them play. That's a huge part of our evaluation, observation, seeing how they engage with us and how they play with the toys that we provide them.
What kinds of things are you looking for? What kinds of things should parents be concerned about?
I would say always their communication. Are they elaborating? Are they using sentences, 3 to 4 word utterances? Are they establishing eye contact when they talk to friends? Are they engaging with their friends, initiating, not just kind of playing along and joining in the group, but we want to see is there a true social interaction with the children. And when it comes to behavior, some of it is very normal. The kids misbehave, especially our group. So sometimes they just need some strategies, and we'll provide them for the active parenting that we actually teach outside here in the schools, and it gives them great strategies for the kids. Sometimes that's all they need.
So sometimes the delays may be creating the behavior problems.
Definitely. Right? Many times when children have language delays or developmental delays, they get frustrated easier, they act out because they don't understand. Imagine they take you to a foreign country. You at least have English and you're a knowledgeable person, so you can find a way to navigate it. As a child, they're not understanding, they don't have anything to fall back on, so naturally, the best way to get others' attention if they don't have the language or to get what they want many times is behavior. They act out, tantruming, and they see it works, so they keep doing it.
So don't let it work.
I know. Well, that's some of the strategies we provide them. We show them an example, and we also give them some community resources because it's that easy. Sometimes you just don't know what to do anymore.
That's great. So you hook them up with those resources in their home school or the neighboring school?
It could be in the neighboring school or somewhere central for the county.
And will they see you again, or once they've done with the evaluation, are they finished?
They have seen me again. Some of them have actually followed up with the behavior classes, and they've seen me there. And then they see me again in the staffing date, which is when we go over all the results. But in between then, I call them, I ask them more questions if I feel like I need more information. Or if I just want to ask the teacher more, I'll call them as well to ask for their permission.
That's great. Well, as I mentioned earlier in the show, one of my goals here is to show parents that this is not an intimidating process.
No, not at all.
That they don't need to be afraid. And I have to say, meeting with you, I would feel very comfortable coming in.
Yes, they need to come because we'll be able to help them and put their fears at ease.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
today.
you.
Realizing that your child may have special needs and knowing where to turn for professional answers can be an intimidating process for any family. But I hope you've seen today that you don't need to be intimidated. The staff at Wingate Oaks is here to support the transition process into the public school system and to help provide you with all kinds of answers, resources to really help you be your own best champion. I want to thank Ellen Breslow, Rizelle Noguera, Janet Brocart, and Lisa Hess, and Donna McCann, the ESC preschool supervisor, for welcoming us to the Wingate Oaks Center today. I've been your host, Cindy Ehrenberg Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County, where our mission is to empower Broward's children to become responsible, productive adults, capable of realizing their full potential, their hopes, and their dreams. For copies of this program or any other episode of Future First, please call the Children's Services Council at 954-377-1000 or visit www.cscbroward.org. I hope you'll like us on Facebook, and remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.